That famous spot everyone talks about. Still trying to dig in and keep their turf intact.
It was maybe 300 meters from those bastards, shelling all the time, tank shells, whatever they had. We didn't have many shrapnel injuries. Thanks to the command for realizing that folks with serious injuries need a ticket out and some real time to heal.
Our brigade, we've been in the thick of it, both attacking and holding our ground.
If people don't like you, they make it clear. There's always an enemy bird hovering above us, observing, ready to drop something on you. And it's definitely not the kind of a firecracker we used to toss around as kids. Well, we've just learned how to move under mines.
We know that material possessions are worth nothing. The most important thing is life.
I ain't gonna hate on them, not gonna waste my feelings on that. I just need them to get off my land.
Direction Klishchiivka, that famous spot everyone talks about. A bit challenging, like it ain't a walk in a park. They also have experienced, strong units. We have gone head-to-head with Wagner PMC, faced Ahmad and dealt with so-called DPR, LPR. It's a mixed bag, some tough, some not so much. Our brigade, we've been in the thick of it, both attacking and holding our ground. We were always doing our best. Over there, we have got the Ahmad squad. Despite being called a TikTok army and whatever, they can actually manage their troops a bit. They've got advanced drone reconnaissance going on. And on the bastard sides, there are also airborne troops. Bastards are pretty loaded with artillery and ammo, still trying to dig in and keep their turf intact.
If there is no communication, we are stuck, especially if they mess up our dugout or any other stuff goes down. Keeping in touch is a big deal. Whether it's about medics coordinating with the battalion command or checking in with the other positions. Like to let other guys know we are running low on water or need some grub, other bits and bobs. So we give them a shout if we're short on something and they bring it right up. Gotta keep communication up and running. There's always an enemy bird hovering above us, observing, ready to drop something on you. And it's definitely not the kind of a firecracker we used to toss around as kids. I'm positioned close to the guys, and if there is any injury, I stabilize it until the evacuation brigade arrives. My job is to keep these guys steady until the evac ride shows up, making sure nothing happens to them. We didn't have many shrapnel injuries. We had 3 or 4 guys with shrapnel wounds. Well, we've just learned how to move under mines. Most of what we dealt with were blast injuries. The worst case was this dude from another squad, the 5th Assault Brigade. He got cut by shrapnel and tried to tie a tourniquet, but did a lousy job and blood just kept coming. He comes over saying, I'm okay, but I see him turning pale. That's my cue to check him out. I cut open his sleeve and see blood flowing. With first aid kit I managed to stop the bleeding and evac took him away. He'll keep his arm now and mine won't get chopped off.
I've been in the fight for more than 1 rotation. And for the first time, I see such extensive use of the easel-mounted ATGLS. Non-stop, 24/7, hitting every position. So what the thing, basically it's like a grenade launcher, like an ATGL but mounted on a platform. You could call it a 73mm no-recoil cannon. Usually they use shrapnel shells. Makes sense, the shooting range is quite good, 3 kilometers, and it's quite a challenge to detect it.
The first site I was on is the contact line. It was maybe 300 meters from those bastards, excuse my language. And constant incoming fire. No way to communicate, so we had to crawl out of our dugout, out of cover, and set up those antennas. Shelling all the time, tank shells, whatever they had. That's when I got a concussion, went through treatment, and back at it, spent a solid week on our position and only got out yesterday. Now I'm used to it, I don't react to all these explosions. Back then, I'd jump at every bang. Whether it's coming out or coming in, I didn't figure it out yet. Nowadays I get it, when it's ours, it's going out. Not a big deal. Humans adapt to everything, even to war. MTBI, commonly known as concussion, is poorly researched, yet it significantly impacts the brain. The shockwave not only damages the eardrums, which can be prevented with ear protection, but it creates an effect similar to caisson disease, as if you've dived very deep and rapidly resurfaced. This shockwave messes with your brain, as if the blood starts to boil in your veins. Blood supply to the brain decreases and connections within it are disrupted. It's not very clear in studies, but it's noticeable in people. They start stuttering, forgetting stuff, memory goes haywire, and in combat conditions it's challenging to help with this. Thank God most of the injuries we have are ones that can be recovered and there are very few shrapnel wounds. Thanks to the command for realizing that folks with serious injuries need a ticket out and some real time to heal. A lot of guys just get dehydrated, and that's the biggest problem, because you physically can't take as much water as you need. And you gotta get that water balance back up real quick, because dehydration hurts way more than shrapnel. Thanks to the volunteers, I have special gels containing all the necessary minerals that a person loses being here. You can either swallow it or mix it with water.
The toughest part is when you get injured, end up in the hospital and witness all that's happening in there. You start fearing becoming wounded in action again. It's a real fear, man, cause you're seeing folks missing arms, legs, messes with your head big time. Those who survived RUBIZH know that material possessions are worth nothing. The most important thing is life. We caught prisoners of war just a week ago. Russian told us that he was a signal officer working on a large electronic warfare. He says he was caught drinking alcohol and was sent to the front line. He was wounded and crawled to our positions for a week. His legs were broken. He crawled to us. We immediately detained and sent him further to the rear.
Recently I was in the position for a long time, having no contact with my family. I told I'd be out for 3 days, but it took much more. My wife must have been worried. I reached out to my buddy through direct line, as it's possible to establish direct contact via the radio station. I told him to get in touch with my wife and let her know everything's fine. Our commander switched on the recorder and said, "Speak your mind." I said everything I wanted while they recorded it from the radio and sent this voice message to her. When I reached her out later on, she said she cried her eyes out. At first she got scared cause it was a message from the commander and she had no clue what's inside. Right now?
Come on, spill the beans.
Sweetheart, I'm fine. I'm on position, about to head out. I'll give you a call. She told me she cried tears of joy when she heard it. That's how it goes. Even from the battlefield I managed to send her a little update. There you go, that's communication.
All of us share the same goal, to free the entire country and at last set up a normal life. We all want to make our country truly European, stable and all.
I don't want my kid to experience shelling. I live in the center of Ukraine. My hometown has been untouched by war so far. I think there was just one incident. People lead peaceful lives, but coming here, you sort of... It's for the sake of keeping that peace there that I am here. We are like a big family here. I know I can trust my guys, and they know they can trust me. And in this environment, it really stands out. Everyone, both the good and the bad, it all comes to the surface. One can't hide behind the mask of an average Ukrainian, where people put on this mask and go to work, where they smile at other people they don't like just because they are supposed to. Here, it's real. If people don't like you, they make it clear.
Especially to those who are on the other side.